Good day, everyone. Thank you for coming back to watch another video. Today I'm going to be doing an organ demonstration and essentially give a back view, a backstory of this organ. So up there is, I believe that is the choir or the choir division or either the solo division up there. And over on the right is the facade, the crown jewels of the organ. And behind the facade is where you can find most of the divisions. And I must say up there are a lot of pipes. As a matter of fact, there are thousands of pipes up there, and they're very neatly arranged per division. And there are two swell boxes up there for the swell division and the choir division of this organ. So, this organ was originally built in 1910 by the Cassavant Company of Quebec, Canada, and it was rebuilt in 1961 by the British firm Hale Norman and Baird. And the organ has a new Cassavant console from 2011 when it was installed. It has 4 manuals. It has 75 stops, and it is used as a instrument for recital and also performers and also masses on Sundays and weekly. And so I'm going to start off with the divisions. So the first division I'm going to start off with is the positive division. And the positive division can be played with the right hand or the left hand, obviously, but it's played as the lowest manual. And again, these are called manuals and not keyboards. So I'm going to start off with the cymbal stop here. So this is a cymbal, cymbal 2/3. The next stop is the super octave 1. It's a very nice stop, and it's usually used with bigger pieces. Mutations and stops with very high pitches, which are usually pipes that are very short, they're typically used with larger ensembles. We have Laragot 1 and 1/3 here. The next stop is the tierce, the tierce 1 3/5. The next stop is the wall flute 2. The next stop is the Nasat 2 2/3. A lot of mutations in the positive division. Positive, I should say, sorry. I really like the Nasat, it's really colorful. Next we have the cobble flute. The next up we have is Principal 4. The next stop is flute, and this is the last stop, flute à chimney. And yes, the positive division is the division directly up there. That's where the sound is coming from. That's the positive division directly up there. And if I were to pull out all of these stops in the positive division and play them, again, this is all of the stops except for the positive unison off. If I were to pull out all the stops and play. So now I'm going to go on to the choir division, and on this organ, the choir division and the positive division both occupy the same manual. However, I must say I really like the the intermanual and intramanual coupler combination up here. So up here we have what are known as intermanual couplers, and I must say these are really good. So you can bring the choir division to the swell division, the great division. So you could bring multiple manuals to different manuals, and you can play the whole organ from the choir division or the great division or even the solo division. You could bring all of the manuals to the solo division, and that is really good for larger pieces. And I'm going to get to the intermanual couplers. Now I'm going to deal with the choir division. So the first stop in the choir division here is Herald Clarion 4. These stops are typically used for special occasions and not usually used during the normal playing of hymns. They would be too loud and they would be too boisterous for a typical hymn a lot of times. And it's very apparent that the sound of those reed pipes are coming from behind the facade. Those type of hymns are usually hymns that would use these stops are usually played at Easter and special occasions. And now we have Herald Trumpet. Then we have Herald Trumpet 16. And again, Herald Trumpet 16 is just a continuation in terms of octaves of the Herald Trumpet 8. And that's a very easy way to compile stops. So for example, instead of potentially building out an entire division, what organ builders can do is they can have a group of pipes in the 8-foot range, and they can have a group of pipes that continue on in the 4-foot range of the pipes, and that will allow them to save space and add more pipes and add even more colorful sound to the instrument. Now we also have what are known as intramanual couplers, and what intramanual couplers do is they essentially carry the sound up an octave or down an octave. So here I'm going to demonstrate with the Herald Trumpet, for persons that may not know. So I have the Herald Trumpet. We all know that sounds. If I were to pull on the choir 4 intramanual coupler, you would see that everything would go up an octave and you would still have the normal lower sound. Now, I'm going to get into what the choir unison off does. So essentially, let's just say, for example, that I want to play. I'm going to describe this in as simply as I can because it's sort of complicated. But let's just say I want to play the Herald Trumpet 8, but I don't want to have the 8-foot sound, but I want to keep the 4-foot. The octave up, super octave, which is octave 4, which is choir 4, and I want to keep the sub octave, which is choir 16 sound, like for example, right here. But let's just say I do not want to hear the typical 8-foot range of this stop. What I can do is I can pull on the choir unison off, and what that would do is that would actually take out the 8-foot sound and keep the 4-foot and the 16-foot sound. So you could have sort of heard the difference, but that's what it does in simple terms. So the next stop is the tierce 1 3/5, another mutation. And we also have a flageolet 2. We also have Nazar 2 2/3 here. We have Flute 4. We now have Coordinate 8. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The next stop is Erzeiler. The next stop is Erzeiler Celeste. Now I'm going to go to the solo division, and I've already shown what the intro manual couplers of the solo division would do. The next stop is going to be the orchestral oboe. And again, the solo division, as the name would imply, is typically for pieces which are done by themselves. So for example, with the Great Division has a lot of what we call traditional, you could essentially call them traditional sounds of the organ. So that would be the diapasons, the octaves, the principals, the 15th, and the flute. That would be called almost traditional sounds of the organ. So the solo sounds are typically sounds you would hear in an orchestra. So with the orchestral oboe, which would be on the high manual, the upper manual up here, that's where the solo division is played from. And I'm going to open up the swell box all of the way. Okay, it's opened all of the way. The next stop is the clarinet 8. And again, it sounds almost exactly like a clarinet you would hear in a marching band. The piccolo. Then we have the orchestral flute. Then we have gamba. And a lot of times during special sort of melodic pieces, I personally like to use the viol de gamba with the vox celeste and the gamba. Now we have the doppelflute. Very melodic sound. And again, I'm going to do all stops for the solo division. And if anybody would like to know, I'm not going to be doing a full organ for this cathedral, for the organ here at the cathedral, because this organ is extremely loud, and the pipes are literally directly in front of me, and I do not want to lose my air drums. So this is going to be the full solo division. And I'm going to do a full choir division. Let me pull out all the stops on the choir division, including the choir 16 and choir 4, and the trumpets, no, not trumpets, Herald Trumpet and Herald Clarion and Herald Trumpet 16. Most of those are out. Yes, choir division is extremely loud. So the next division now is the main division, or the Great Division. So the first stop on the Great Division is the Herald Trumpet 8 here. So that was the Herald Trumpet. Next is the Trumpet 8. The next is the mixture. Oh, this is 2-rank mixture. Now we have a mutated mixture, and it's a 4 to 5-rank mixture. So we have Flute 2. We have Nazad 2 and 2/3. We have Principal 4. Then we have 15th 2. The next stop is octave 4. Now we have chimney flute here. Chimney flute. Now we have the traditional sounds we associate with the organ, and a lot of persons would say that these are traditionally English. They are English sounding stops and are English stops, and they sound very English, I should say. So a lot of times, whenever you would listen to Westminster Abbey, for example, this is the primary sound you would hear a lot of times when they play God Save the Queen. Wait a minute. The two diapasons together. Yes. Next is violin diapason 8. And then we have double open diapason.